random white people here. And, you know what grinds my gears? Is when someone comes up to you and says, your people made my people slaves. And I was like, why are you complaining? You weren't even a slave. Your daddy and mommy weren't even slaves. And your grandparents weren't even slaves. Why are you blaming me? And let me just put you in your place there before you start blaming me of shit like slavery. I'm Irish. My people weren't even in the country when that shit went down. Instead, we were slaves to England ourselves. Being sold 7 times less than a black man would. That's what happened with my people. And the other part of my people was Native Americans, so they were slaves with you. So you just looking at the color of my skin and just blaming me for slavery? Bitch, you don't know your history? You being ignorant? You being racist? And it needs to fucking stop. Your whole culture and their victim mentality of we were slaves, it has to fucking stop, okay? It's been 200 years ago since your people were slaves. You were never slaves. You were never under a man's yoke. You need to get over it. You need to stop using it as an excuse on why you don't do anything with your life. You need to move on with your life. I'm sorry that England was assholes and did that to your people. But may I also add that you should start blaming your people too, because it was your chiefs and your tribesmen that sold you into slavery. So it was your own people that sold you to be a slave. Or it wasn't even you, it was your ancestors into slavery. So to just blame someone based on their skin color is pretty ignorant, pretty fucking stupid. And the very fact that you weren't even there when it happened makes it even worse. You don't even know your own history. Instead, you use it as an excuse. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm not going to use anything as an excuse to get in my way when I want to get something done. But, it's on you, I guess. But, you can keep blaming white people for the fact that you're in a gang and you're shooting people up. You can blame the white man, I guess, for the reason why, you're living in a, project area, but white people live in projects too, so it's not exactly just a black problem if white people are living in projects too. If, white people are experiencing poverty too. I don't think it's a race thing quite anymore. I think what's going on is classism. And you guys, you use the slavery thing as an excuse, And I can't help what rich men do. And you could say, but it's all the white rich men. What about all the, black rich men? Are they helping you guys out of your plate? No. They're sitting on their fortune and not sharing with anybody. I mean, why isn't your black leaders helping you? Why don't you go to Oprah and tell Oprah why she isn't, helping the projects out and the black communities out with her billions of dollars. Why don't you ask that? I mean, there's a lot of things you can do. You blame just the white person, but there are black people that are rich and are powerful. What happened to Obama fixing you guys? You thought Obama was gonna fix you guys. No one would live in projects anymore. I mean, what the hell you get from Obama? A fucking phone? A fucking shitty piece of fucking plastic? Oh, yay, I can now talk to my Aunt Susie that I haven't talked to years. Yep, she's still a fucking bitch. So, I don't know. I don't think Obama did, very good for the black community, but you guys love him for some reason. You blame the white people for getting the black person down, but the black people, they don't lift their people up when they're in a position where they could lift people up. I'm just saying, so it's got to be a classism problem and not a racism problem. I'm just saying. So, you want to blame the whitey? Go ahead, but it shows your ignorance. It shows the fact that you were never a slave. You were. And you show your ignorance toward white people who are lighter in complexion because you just assume that just because they're white, they're automatically fucking England, and they're not. Okay, you can't even blame the Germans, and they're white, for slavery. The Germans weren't involved in slavery. Neither were the Swedes or any of, the Netherland, region of white people. They weren't involved in slavery. You gonna blame them for it because their skin is white? And you know what? There's some black people who weren't even slaves at all. So, should they use the same complex just because they have the same complexion as you? Should they blame all the white people for their atrocities? I'm just wondering, how far do we go to blaming the white person for all your problems instead of you just taking a stand and taking care of the problems yourself? Now, you can say, no, the white man keeping me down. The white man will never let me out of the projects. You fucking liar. You're a fucking liar. There are so many programs for African Americans to get them out of poverty. So many. More than any white person. Trust me. Especially when it comes to going to school, you guys could get grants upon grants and you can make more money than anything. Especially, if you have one white person who has an equal education to a black person, the black person is going to get the job and not the white person because they're black. So you have more opportunity than white people. Everyone talks about this white opportunity shit. Nah, black people have more opportunity in this country than white people because they have more programmings to help them get out of poverty. White people have very few programs to get them out of poverty. But black people, they have tons and tons of programs to get them out of fucking poverty. So the very excuse as the white man keeping me down, no. Okay? And the excuse of the white man putting me in jail, the cops are putting me in jail. No, you're going to jail because you are a criminal and you don't know how to follow the law. Cops cannot throw you in jail without, due process. They can't throw you in jail without there a reason to throw you in jail. So if you stop, turning tricks and, keeping drugs in your fucking pockets and selling dope and fucking having guns in your pockets and playing gangbangers, you wouldn't be arrested. So don't blame the white man for putting you down for you getting arrested, especially when there's a lot of, African American cops out there? Are you going to go and say it's the African American cops too that are getting you arrested? Or whoa, are they just the Uncle Toms? Is that what it is? I don't know. I thought, honestly, I really believed we squashed the whole race issue in the 90s. I didn't realize it had to be such a huge issue. And why is it such an issue? Why is it your pathetic generation, most of you who whine about slavery are fucking 20 years old? You motherfuckers have been so spoon-fed of glorious, you fucking 20-year-olds had it so fucking easy. You don't know what life is without the internet and having to think for yourself. You don't know how it is to actually do anything because most of you motherfuckers don't work because you're too fucking lazy to work because you want to spend time on the internet all day playing some Japanese fucking, game because you have like 30 friends there and it gives you some form of validity. I digress. But we need to quit this fucking blame the white people shit. Okay? Because the white man is over the slavery thing. Okay? You use that card a little too much. I think the whole, white people are evil because, equals slavery type bullshit. I think that line of thinking and that guilt trip card has expired. Because a lot of white people now are getting really fucking sick of being blamed for slavery when they would never do that to a human being. I refuse, and I suggest any white person out there refuse to take responsibility for something that happened 200 years ago. And I suggest to the mature black people is stop using that fucking stupid card because you guys, your mother and father, or your grandparents were never slaves. You shouldn't even use that excuse anymore. You're beyond the third and fourth generation. Don't you get it? Sorry. Due process is expired, man. Stop blaming white people for slavery. Especially since now we know it was both the white person and black people that were responsible for slavery, and it's very unfair to just blame one side and not the other side, which is your people. I know it offends you, but I choose not to live ignorantly. I choose to not live with this white guilt, because I have nothing to be guilty about. Most, and I can say this for surety, most of the people I have befriended in my life have been black. So, I mean, I don't know. I just think it's stupid for blaming someone who would, save your life. Also, why don't you guys ever, instead of doing you white people got us into slaves, why don't you ever, instead of, doing that, you congratulate certain white people for saving your fucking asses through the Underground Railroad? When are you going to start thanking the white man for that? When are you going to start realizing that not all black people are out to make you fucking slaves? And some of them would have hid you. Some of them would have given you asylum. I would have been part of that Underground Railroad. I guarantee it. Definitely, man. Save me some G-Man. In fact, I don't think G-Man's family were even slaves, if I recall, because his family's from Jamaica. But anyway, they may have some Jamaican slaves there with the sugar plantations. I should ask him. But anyway, stop blaming people for things that happened over 200 years ago. It's not fair. And I am never going to take the race card and put it in my pocket and be like, yes, I did that. I'll be like, I'm Irish, bitch. I was a slave too. Should I go and constantly remind England they're rapey assholes who pillaged my people? Should I be constantly in a feud with England? Should Ireland just pelt fucking leprechauns at England and say, fuck your fucking muffins? I mean... No. Ireland took the mature route, said, fuck you, you fucking limeys. And we moved the fuck on. We didn't spend 200 years whining it happened. We fucking moved the fuck on. Okay? And I'll tell you, the Irish got treated a hell of a lot worse than you freaking slaves who were black. Okay? 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 Your people just sold you into slavery, okay? We were forced into slavery as sex slaves. Wives and husbands were torn apart because some white guy wanted to wife another wife and raped her and just destroyed the DNA line of my beautiful Irish race. But we got the fuck over it. Okay? We got over it. That's why you don't hear it so much in history about Irish slaves, because we don't make it a big fucking deal. Because we want to move on from atrocity. We don't want to keep it instilled in our mind, keeping us down. I mean, maybe you could use the Irish and how we handled the situation. You know, maybe you should handle it a little bit like the Irish did. Or you could just continue to whine and blame white people over something that never happened to you. While you sit there in your expensive suit that you got because you worked your ass off by utilizing the programs that white man put together to help you get out of the fucking project. But yet, the white people puts you down even though it was a white person who created these programs to get you out of the projects. You just have to work, okay? White people ain't gonna hand you things, okay? And you know what? Ask G-Man. I paid my fucking reparations. Peace, Maranatha.